Meeting called to order at 7:05 p.m. Public session. We do have a visitor, Anthony Pandolfi.
Yes.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Do you have a couple minutes? Would you like to give us some insight or have anything to say at all?
I'm
No?
just visiting.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't run you away. We can't get
If
lively and
we bore you
intense.
too much, you can leave.
It gets lively and intense sometimes, but that's okay. We're all here for the same purpose. If everybody's kind of had a minute to look over the minutes, we need a motion to approve the minutes, May minutes.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second it.
Charlotte. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, motion's passed.
I have an abstention, please.
Hmm?
I'm abstaining.
You're abstaining and one abstention. Which would be Joyce. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second it.
Barbara? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion's passed. Remarks from the chair. First of all, we're moving along. I'm excited as the summer months come on of what we're in our celebration, Summer Sounds. We had a great Pride event. We had a great, there was a car show. I don't know if the MCA took part in that, but we've had some great events, and certainly we have the 4th of July. But what I really wanted to I was reflecting because good or bad, I've seem to keep getting placed in these leadership roles. Taking on a few other responsibilities in other areas. So I was reflecting a little bit on leadership. So I think I'm gonna try to impart, I don't know if these are words of wisdom, reflections, but first and foremost, when we take on leadership roles, they're not always they're rewarding, but they're not necessarily always the most popular. Being a leader does not mean we go along to get along, and sometimes it doesn't mean we're looking for friendships. It means we have to lead, and sometimes that means you have to stand alone and stand by yourself. Not always an easy position to be in, but this is where we find ourselves as we answer that call. That we have to make sure that we're moving in the right direction, and sometimes that means saying things that not always, or addressing things that are not always popular. It is an honor to be asked to be in a leadership position, and it's something that we should not take lightly for those coming after. Some of us aren't going to be around or move on to other things. But it is an honor. But with that honor, as they say, with great responsibility, comes, what is it? I'm trying to think. But anyway, it comes with a lot of responsibility. And it also comes with a lot of rewards. But it also comes sometimes, what has to be said is not always going to be received well. But you have to do what's right and you have to say what's right. So I just want to, again, just reflecting on a lot of things I've been asked to step up to do. And I'm hoping that it's because people have seen that in me. I would think they wouldn't keep asking me if they didn't see something that I was doing right. But I just want to say to those who will be stepping up in the future, this is not a title, when they ask you to be a leader, it's not a title wearing job. It means you do have to work. Don't take it on if you can't make the commitment. Don't take it on if you're not gonna rise to the occasion. Don't take it on if you have a thin skin, because if you do, you're not gonna make it. So those are just my words of reflection. And I don't know who needed to hear it. This has been weighing heavy on me in the last week or so, but I just wanted to say those things because the more I try to get out of, the more seems to be coming my way. And I always will rise to the occasion, because in each instance, I tend to learn something about not only myself, but whatever I'm asked to step on into. So those are just my remarks, just my random thoughts on things that have been happening lately. And just hope that as other people step up, that you hopefully will remember these words and understand that leadership is to be taken seriously, and it is not a title-wearing position. And I've seen too many people wear the title and they don't do the job. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that as they step up and move on or do other things. So that's it for that. Okay, old business. But I'm also looking forward to all the rest of the celebration for the rest of the year. Old business staff report, Keisha.
So I missed two folks. I got some t-shirts, some polo shirts. As I was ordering kids' art shirts, I thought of the MCA and wanted to say thank you in some small bright yellow way. I'm sorry, it's not very artistic, but maybe paint in it.
Yeah, right.
You know, your first tier of rolling out t-shirts blindly off, the way you have to order t-shirts, you can't really touch it, feel it, smell it.
I actually think these will look great at the open air.
I think they will too. They'll really stand out.
Fall and-
So, but Barbara, you inspired me definitely. I just want you to say thank
Oh,
you
really?
for your t-shirt idea. I had ordered these before that, so when you came in,
I have a drawer full of shirts like this.
Yeah.
From all over.
From the decades.
And I can't get rid of them. I love them.
So just thank you, Kate. I'll get you one, and I believe I got it. And whoever else is not here, Julia. So thank you for all of your help and support.
Oh, that's nice.
Everything's happening in the next 2 weeks. Just follow Facebook. Open my emails, read the paper, listen to 88.1, and you'll know all that's going on in the city. Okay?
Yeah.
That's that. Poet laureate. For the record, I'd like to say that Cheryl Hale did send me an email that she will be moving away from Middletown in less than a month, and that she will officially leave the position of Middletown's Poet Laureate vacant. So noted. We can extend our thanks to her in some type of way through a nice formal letter.
Let's write her a poem.
However we feel.
Send her a t-shirt.
Send her a t-shirt, I sure will.
Keisha, could you get the mayor to write a note to her too?
Right.
I think that would.
Yes, because she composed a poem for his inauguration, didn't she? Didn't she, when he first got into office, she did?
I think she did.
I think she did.
Any other suggestions that I can start putting in a pot and cooking up for her?
She will be sorely missed because she was great.
Yeah. So I mean, the suggestion of a mayor letter, we could write it for him and he could sign it. I mean, he's pretty busy, but
Yeah.
I mean, on behalf of the MCA, what
Usual.
do you think we would like to say? Would you like to express your words in any type of way, or do we just have it written up in the mayor's and we all sign it? It's just kind of a general from the MCA and the mayor.
Yeah, we can do that.
There's that.
Yeah.
There's someone that could pen it up, or I think writing in the form of a poem would be really funny. Sweet.
That'd be your job, Lee.
Yeah,
It's a room.
Yeah, are you volunteering?
I'm a
It
terrible
could be,
poet.
it's
He doesn't.
just 4 lines, but then something, you know.
A haiku.
A haiku.
A haiku.
Or a limerick.
Something simple. I don't want it to be complicated.
Hi, Cheryl, haiku.
Haiku.
All right, well, I'll get back to you on that real quick, all right, to your point, you asked a question, offline once, was, talking art Artolution. So I did receive an email, CC, that art Artolution is being pushed through the process and approved for the rec center to,
Nice.
Do a mural on on the new property. I was told that the mayor and the chief of staff visited this week and, also looked at the scope of the area. So that paperwork process is moving through.
Are we looking at the fall then?
I do not know anything further, yeah. The second piece of information is, the Anti-Racism Task Force. I've been in communication with the staff of this task force, Kayla Jones, she's the HR specialist, who's also the staff to the task force. She has been doing the legwork for the task force to implement a Black Lives Matter crosswalk. The last meeting I was in, she brought out of three quotes, she brought one that she wanted the mayor to view. And it has been approved to select this person that they have selected and start moving through the process to try to get a Black Lives Matter crosswalk on the corner of Court and Main, where the main break recently
Right.
had its issue, so it's fresh and new.
Smooth.
Fresh and new, no bumps in the road. And
It's a blank canvas.
that is at the beginning of the process. So I wanted to make sure that this was made note now. We will not be having a meeting in August.
August.
There might be some activity or no activity. These things kind of take time, but just so it is noted, this just happened today. That is literally my full report.
That's
No August meeting, but weren't we gonna do something at the last,
We're gonna get to all of that.
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. We're gonna get to that. That's part of the 50th anniversary.
Okay, all right, that's it. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet so y'all can get on to your business.
Okay. All right, all set, Keisha?
Yes.
Any committee reports?
I have
You
a
want the
committee,
Nominating committee?
nominating committee, we met with the mayor.
Okay.
We spoke about different types of outreach. He said certainly it shouldn't be all on the nominating committee to choose new members, that he was gonna wrap his head around it as well.
Okay.
We talked about some people that we're reaching out to. Julia and I have both started to reach out to several people, and we're here tonight. I have a list of kind of, not people that we're gonna ask, but people we're gonna ask if you know anyone, basically.
If they're interested.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just looking for interest now.
Right. Right, and there already has been some really interesting interests.
Okay.
And one of the issues is that we have 11 members on, but I'm learning about this, on the commission, and we can have no more than 7 that are of the
One
same
party. Right.
So
Right.
this is an issue for us.
Always is.
And so looking at the slate of people whose appointments will be expiring, aside from, we have 2 openings right now, just flat out, and then we have 2 that are expiring, and then by next year, there's another 3. So
Wow.
over the next year, we need to find 7 people. Now, he also told me that until we find someone to replace someone who's expired, they can continue to serve. So until we get a butt in the seat, I guess it's Joyce and Barbara
Okay.
will continue.
Okay.
And they don't have to be Republicans, they can be independents, they could be whatever, as long as they're not registered Democrats.
Okay.
Because we have a heavily registered Democrat
Mhm.
thing. This is not related to that, but something that I brought up with him because it's something I was thinking about and I wanted to just put it out there so that people could be thinking about it. And we're gonna talk more about this in our next public art meeting. But we talked a little bit about the tunnel to the river. He's very interested in seeing something happen there. There's also a tunnel under Newfield Street that connects, people know what I'm talking about?
Vets
No.
Park.
Vets Park to the road that there's a vet. There's a veterinary, like,
Oh, that,
You know what I'm talking
yes,
about?
that's
Oh,
exactly,
yeah.
that's what I talked about, that amazing arch, though it's falling.
The old
no,
vet
no, not
area.
that, there's actually a tunnel under the road there that is derelict,
In the same area?
in the same
Same
area,
area.
same area,
It's the street by the water department,
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Road,
That's what I'm
road,
talking
yeah.
about,
and if you go down that street, right on the left, there's a
Yeah.
big
There's like,
area,
Yeah.
like park gravel area, and you go down into the scary little wood.
yeah, exactly.
Questionable area
I've been
there,
that's-
and there's a tunnel.
Yeah.
There's a tunnel
There's
there,
a,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so I was thinking, why, instead of us deciding what could happen in those places, this is an opportunity to perhaps have some kind of competition or some kind of call for artists. Before we can do that, however, there's a lot of groundwork that needs to be covered, like talking to Public Works about what is possible there.
Right, what the additions are.
What, and like I had been thinking, it doesn't have to be paint. It could be a light installation, you could be like growing mushrooms down there, you could be doing anything,
What
like.
kind of mushrooms are you talking about? Just curious.
But,
Charlotte.
Yeah.
he was very excited about that. And so I would like to, just wanna bring it up so that you all can start
Yeah.
thinking
that's
about
great.
that
Thank you for-
and,
Yeah, thank you, yeah.
and I think that if we can, cause I had mentioned to someone, they're like, oh, we can never do something there, it doesn't belong to the city. He said, no, it belongs to the city and.
Yeah, I knew it belonged to the city. I don't
Yeah.
know why somebody said it did.
Yeah,
I knew that belonged to
So yeah, that's all about that, but more to be continued on that. I think that's.
Yeah.
It was good that you finally broached the subject about doing in areas that are, we really want, well, the tunnel I think was an obvious one, the one that's here.
the city.
Yeah.
But that other space
The
is
other
not
tunnel,
so
yeah.
obvious, but it's something to extend out a little bit from Main Street, you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
I mean,
Yeah.
just find these areas that are derelict,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Just,
and that's where art happens.
Well,
That's
also
where-
as we think about, as they're trying to connect the walkable trails from the Westlake area to the downtown.
Yeah,
That might become
exactly.
a
It's true,
big,
that's true, that's a
big
good point.
thing,
Yeah,
so.
Right.
exactly.
yeah.
And just because it's not used now, I mean, they could make a park there.
Right.
It could become a
Tables and
destination.
benches and
It's a
stuff.
destination.
Like,
Right
Yeah.
by the river,
When-
it's beautiful.
I've
When,
been down there, they great raspberries.
Okay.
Well, you
All
know,
right.
the bike walk ends in off that development off of Newfield Street, in that new
Arkansas?
development. What was that?
Arkansas?
No, farther on.
On Newfield Street you're
On
talking.
Newfield
Yeah,
Street,
yeah.
not Westlake or Eastlake. But the second leg of the bike path goes through Westlake and through Eastlake and through Tuttle
Oh,
Road.
Tuttle Road.
Tuttle Road, yeah. that's where it
Goes
is,
all the
yeah.
way to the end of Tuttle Road, and there's a final leg of that bike path that was anticipated many years ago to go down Newfield Street
Yeah, they're still working on it.
and connect to the river, and that would be the
That's it,
place
that's
it would,
Oh.
it could
That
That would
potentially
be
go
tough,
through.
yeah, would work, yeah.
So if you can get that last leg of the bike path on the bonding agenda, you might have, you might be able to include some artistic or
Yeah, some
creative
kind of present for the
enhancements
arts. Yeah.
to the bike,
Mhm.
the last leg of the bike path.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so,
Can All set, Kate?
Yeah, all set.
That's great.
Yeah.
Any other committee reports?
Yes. So, Poet Laureate, I did speak to Cheryl because I wanted to catch her before she finally went to ask her about connecting us to other groups of poets to look for the new Poet Laureate. She said she'd be happy to do that. She had some suggestions. There's another poet in Hartford who works with a lot of the whole state. And there is a Poet Laureate group, a group of Poet Laureates from all different areas that know a lot of them. So anyway, she's going to be working on that, and I'm looking. In October, I think September actually, we're going to start getting the committee back to being active and looking for a new Poet Laureate. So it's just setting the feelers out now to see who we can get. The Pride event was a wonderful event. I think a lot of people were here. We had old commissioners there as well. Some marched with us. The reason I'd like to bring that up now is, do we have another place for that? The 50th, that's under the 50th discussion, budget and expenditures, or do it here under committee for the Pride?
Budget and expenditure.
Do it under budget?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
Yes, with the two
Yeah.
dots, yeah.
yeah,
okay.
Are you looking for a
Yeah.
vote?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So other than that, Pride was great. I think one of the things that we need to do going forward is to get a Pride committee, because it's a big event and we need several things that need to be worked on in that.
So do you want the commission to be part of the Pride Committee, or there is a Pride Committee, isn't there?
No, I mean a subcommittee of us for just what we're doing with Pride,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
not with the
Okay,
Pride
okay,
parade
gotcha.
at all.
But yes, Charlotte, to answer your question, I think that's a great idea. One of us should be
Involved in it.
involved
Absolutely.
in the Pride Committee itself.
Yes.
That is an appointment by the mayor, and
Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
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 That'd be great. if that-
the window on Main Street for, I was going to say Planned Parenthood, adult ed, is a large window, a very large window. And we have about half of it handled now. Keisha went out to look at it. What we've done is put stuff in there to see what we can do with it. We're sticking with the idea that we had of being technical with the TVs and having the two messages that are going to show. One is going to be a constant rolling of words, basically, or posters like the July 2nd, but information on things that are going to be happening in town. That will be constantly changing. The other 4 monitors will just be loops of things that have already happened around town. So there'll be constant activity going on in there. There was an issue once we got in there, and it was very dark. To put anything in there, there's no lighting. There's 3 little lights along I think it's 16 feet. And it doesn't light anything. The sun blares in there. It's a bad display window. It's not a great design display window. We hung a backdrop in there that is kind of like the universe. It's dark it's very, very funky, but very laid back and quiet. And it works perfectly by accident that it darkens the whole thing, and the monitors will show really well from that. It absorbs the sun and the light, and it will show. The other thing that's changed is, in speaking to the guy who owns it, he is looking for this to stay up there for a couple of years. So I think we're going to as much as we can say something about the birthday celebration, with the amount of time, expense, and work that's going into this, we don't want to have to take it down in like 2 months. So I'm saying go for something that's more permanent now, that's going more with the fact that we can't see, it's so dark. I'm leaving to do a little art search myself, road trip for 2 weeks. We tried to set up a meeting, and I guess you guys were not.
No,
We couldn't find
get
a
that.
date
Yeah,
that's
not-
gonna
not
work.
in a short period
So
of
when I
time.
come back, I'd like to have all of us go down there and sit
Look
there
at it.
and look at it. And
Mhm, mhm.
I have some ideas for it. at least we have to work with the material that we bought, but that's fine. And the rest is pretty up to creativity.
So you were able to get the monitors in, but were they turned on? Were you able to get a
So,
sense of what it
What
looked
I
like?
what I did was put them in for me to see,
Yeah,
but I knew I was leaving for like 2 weeks,
right,
and I didn't want to leave Jim with a half window.
yeah.
So I put down, and that window's a mess, by the way. I mean, I can't believe it sat that way for years.
Yeah.
And so by cleaning it up, the window looked better empty cleaned up than it did with the stuff in it.
Yeah.
But by putting the backdrop up, dropping the sign that they originally had there,
Yeah.
which said something, Keisha, do you remember what that said? Something about time.
The time is now.
The time is now?
Something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
something like
Meaning
that.
it's time to enroll and.
Yeah,
Right,
so it said
right.
the time is now, and it takes up the whole window, it just kind of hangs in front of it. My monitors are still in there, so it kind of, if you look, you can see them, but like I said, it's dark, you'll only
Yeah.
see them lit. There was a big clock that was already in there, I cleaned that up and put it in one window.
Okay.
And there was a palette that was pretty artsy,
Uh-huh.
and it was a clock. So I hung that in the other window.
Okay.
So he's got a window, it looks good, it looks way better than what was there, and he's happy for the 2 weeks until we come in and
Okay.
fix this up.
All right, great.
So that's good on that. We need to get, so that's probably just gonna be me making a phone call. Our senior art person, we never got the art from them to put in the display case
Oh,
for the McCaw Award. So I will give a call there. I'm sure with one of those teachers that we worked with, somebody will be there over the summer and be able to let me in and get it. And
Do we know it's there and it's not that the student has it, or?
I don't.
Don't know.
They usually do leave it, but we'll find out.
Alright.
And then I have a note for myself, and somebody mentioned it here earlier, but does the MCA want to be included in the car show? Not with a car, but to have something there or a showing of art, Middletown art. That's something we can talk about at another time. It's just a question I wanted to throw out.
yeah,
It's really, I mean,
basically have a
it's
table or something.
Yeah.
It's just hand out info.
Yeah.
a huge draw.
Because at Pride, Keisha did, and Pam, and Charlotte, were sitting there talking to tons of people. And Keisha had I love that postcard thing that she did. If you're not aware of it, the kids took postcards and drew on them, and they were self-addressed and stamped, and they mailed them back in. I know she got one. I don't know how many came
It was
in.
kind of, it was a great idea. I don't know, didn't get a lot of kids to do it, but it was a good idea.
They were all, well, we had a 2-hour line for the drag queen.
Oh, the drag queen was different though,
So
yeah.
that brought tons
that
of
was a-
people there. So I'm not suggesting a drag queen at the car show, but who knows? Life goes on. But we could do some type of art thing that will. I mean, not everybody likes cars, and they go with their families and see it.
Well, the kids, yeah, and then it would be something to have for the kids there
Kids,
too, because I
yeah.
think everything is so focused on that.
Yeah.
Maybe an artsy table where they can come and draw just to
Yeah, that's
take a
great.
break, because I'm sure.
They can draw cars.
Some
Yeah.
people cars, oh,
There you go.
absolutely.
Your favorite
Draw your favorite car.
Is
Yeah.
this the
Favorite
car
color
show the
dress?
Historical Society normally puts on?
No, this is the
Or
chamber,
this
The
is
chamber.
the chamber?
the chamber cruise on Main.
Oh, Cruise on Main,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a chamber event.
And it does bring a huge
A
audience.
lot of people, there were a lot of people here this year.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the first one in
Oh,
person
years.
in
I
2
thought-
years.
How did it
Yeah.
work for
Hang on.
the local restaurants?
That
Did
one.
it, was it, I mean, there are so many people, you couldn't park anywhere unless you came down to the, to the center of town, but did it help the, people in the restaurants? Did they get a lot of?
I'm
just
assuming so, I
curious.
can't tell you,
Yeah.
because they do have food trucks,
Yeah,
so
they did have food trucks, right?
I don't know how well, some restaurants probably did better than others, just by nature of their cuisine. That I really can't tell you, because they do have food trucks, which has been a little bit of an issue with the restaurants, because they have fixed costs.
Right.
But it is what it is, but they all do reasonably well, I think they all do pretty reasonably well.
Pam, do you think Sandra might talked to them about that or know anything about that?
She usually does, and if, I will tell you this, if they weren't making money between the chamber and the DVD, we'd hear about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Right,
and Larry called me today, so there hasn't been anything, and if anybody's gonna complain, they'd complain to him, and he's never said anything. So the restaurants do well, like I said, some will do better than others, just nature of your families and kids. You know, probably Sicily did well because they got pizzas and, you know, Empire and those kind of restaurants. Michi's where they're sitting inside, I don't know, but I usually see him anyway, so. But I'm assuming they do fairly well.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Barbara?
Yes, but my only observation about this window, we're putting so much into this window. I think we need to put a lot into advertising the window. So people who go walk down Main Street and so forth will be part of it.
Well,
We
I
can do
think
it
once they get it done,
Put
we will.
scenes from the window into the, you
You
know,
know
or
what?
something to make people go down there.
I'll take a photograph, post it, share it.
Yeah,
I'll absolutely, I think that's a great
But
idea.
also, let them feel there's something more by actually seeing it.
Right,
Somebody, quotations from some, oh my, I do it, oh, well, you should be blah, 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 you know. Get
Yeah,
excitement.
they have to
about
get
the-
it done first before we can.
Yeah, because we're-
One step at a time.
We're putting too much money and so forth into just this.
But it's gotta get done first before we can do that, so.
But when it is,
We've gotta do things in steps.
That could be a quote.
You have your,
advertising.
you have
Yeah,
your
it's a good
editor
idea.
working on, you
Yeah.
have an editor working on.
But yeah, that's a great idea.
What's gonna be shown.
So it'll be, what,
Keisha's
probably
a
another
pilot.
month or so before it's all set to go, before we can promote it, right?
I would say.
Think, yeah, Kate, Charlotte,
Thank
about another month. He's gonna go for 2
Start with
weeks.
me coming back.
Alright,
Yeah.
alright, so figure a month and a half
Yeah. I
before
think
it's all
so, I
set to
think
go,
so.
by, definitely by the fall,
Mhm.
when the students come back, okay. Alright, any other committee reports?
Well, are you just, now, is this the time to mention the 2 projects that I've been working on?
Yes, as long as you keep it brief.
Oh.
Okay. Go ahead, Barbara.
Okay. I
Is that your
have been
music
researching 2
committee? That's your
projects.
music
I
committee,
have
so
to
go
look
ahead.
on this paper, I made a questionnaire, then I changed it, then I put on all this time into a questionnaire. Now, pass this around quick. While you're passing that, I will talk about the other project. The other project is this sing-along, and I have gone on Wikipedia, and we have 3 composers that are on Wikipedia, born in Middletown, Connecticut, plus 2 others, plus we have a wonderful setup for doing songs by Middletown composers. And I will work on getting the people together to do the Middletowners and so on.
Okay.
But they're all there. I don't have copies of them for everybody.
Oh, okay.
But it's very exciting to go on and see these people written up. From the latest one written up was Neely Bruce, but then before then was Ellie Rubel, and then before that was Henry Clay Work, and before that was Reginald DeCoven, and then also Harrington up in Wesleyan that wrote that Christmas carol that everybody sings at Christmas. So it is really exciting. We can turn that on and have coffee and stuff, okay?
So this
Now-
is,
now,
yeah, I saw,
what was the thing
this
I
is
said?
actually very simple and easy, and I think this covers kind of what we had
And the
been talking
big
about.
change, my computer messed it up.
That's
But
all
the
right.
big change I made, I started out with, are you a musician? Then I said, no. People said, no, I'm not a musician. But when you ask people, do they play an instrument? Do they sing? Do they dance? Do they this? What kind? Then they're apt to say, oh, sure, I do that, but I'm not a professional.
Yeah.
And I had one last line on the professional. Let's see, somebody got it on the old one, I don't know what I passed on. Here. This last line, it said, parentheses, are you or have you been a professional in the arts?
Okay.
Period. And we might pick up some very surprises for ourselves around town.
So
We've had people who've been in the jazz scene with the big bands and so forth. Wow.
Yeah, this is something we can use when we do our booths. We can have it there just to give us a handle, because one of the things we've been trying to do is get a handle on who are the artists and towns, so we have a database. So when questions come up and somebody's asking a question, so this actually is a really good start.
Well, I'm sure you can change it and
Yeah,
work,
no, this
but
is
I
good.
think the
This is simple.
outline is
This is
good.
easy.
I think the outline is good. And at the top, I couldn't type it, but it should say, you and the arts, but then the and should be crossed out and put in place of it. And then they get the idea, we want them in the arts.
Yeah.
So my suggestion for this, though, it is good and it is simple, but it's one of the things that we've been trying to get away from by telling people what art is. I think this is all great, but on the bottom, write in big letters, what is your art?
Well, we can
And
add
allow
that.
them
Yeah.
to not feel you have to be in the
Yeah.
fine arts to be an
Right.
artist.
Right.
Well, I also, this is interesting.
Well,
this
put
came
that
up-
on the bottom then, what's your.
Yeah.
As well as, see, I put it on the top and you're saying.
Sorry.
One of the things that came up in the nominating committee is that we should be having a database, like if someone says, I'm interested in volunteering, or I'm interested in this, there should be a whole list of people, so that when it comes around time to nominate a commissioner, we can just, bam, go to that list. Oh, here's someone who's interested. Oh, here, let's email this person and suggest they come to meetings. They show up at meetings and we suggest, to the mayor they be nominated. And, like that seems like a pretty, I don't know if that would be like a Excel spreadsheet or something else. But I see this being like something, this information could perhaps be part of that database so that you could search for, visual artists.
Right.
Or dancer or whatever, or volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
She was, she wanted to put them on a card, a postcard, and then on the other side, the person fills in the information.
Yeah.
And really, we need to get their email, phone, name, we
Well,
need
once
to
we-
have it all of it.
Yeah, once you start with an index card and then make the database, because if we learn anything in dealing with technology, when that computer crashes, you're,
Right.
I now, when people come in for lessons, I now have a book that I write it in, because my computer crashed on me 3 times and I lost all my information on who was coming in for lessons. So now, when somebody says, I wanna come in for a lesson on this day, it is written in pencil with a phone number, and pen and paper never crash.
Good.
So I think you could start with handing them an index card, but then it gets transferred into a
So- so the
database
thing-
and maybe an Excel spreadsheet where we
That's good
can do that.
information.
Yeah.
So
I had that happen twice.
So what we should really think about is, how do we distribute something like this? Where is it that, like, for example, of course, at the Wadsworth Mansion, for the fair, this would certainly be a great place to start. But it should be wherever, even at the car show, for example, or wherever we are, wherever there is a large group of people meeting, we should have
Or
representation.
do
there,
it,
so
do
something
it
like this can happen.
electronically.
You do
Where
electronically,
to
but
post
you
it
know
on
what,
Facebook.
right, you
People
can
might
do that,
respond.
if they're gonna
Might
go
just
to,
say,
but if they're only, if they go to the
Geographic
Meeting Commission on the
limitation.
Arts, they will see it there, but I'm just saying, sometimes it's gotta be a broader stroke and not necessarily just
Yeah, I
on
mean,
that.
We can also ask
more than
our organizations that get grants, like Autos, the Buttonwood Tree, like at those events, if those cards were there and those organizations could send them to us when they get filled out.
Yeah, that's true too, we could get help,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can get help from organizations where
that's right,
folks
we
are
can
coming
help,
in.
right.
So my question though is, are we just looking for Middletown residents, or do we want people that are visiting from Massachusetts to fill this out?
We would really want, first let's start, now this is my suggestion, you all can say whatever, but my suggestion, let's start with Middletown. We're here to take care of Middletown artists.
Yeah, middle.
Let's start with Middletown artists
So we would have
first.
to only be giving this to Middletown people. Either that, or they do have to put their address and we would just file.
Well, we can
We would
file
take
it
the
away,
Middletown.
but I would say we can file it away, take everything. We're not gonna turn anybody away, but I think when it comes to wanting to engage somebody, I think we should start with Middletown artists first. So I think we're not gonna limit and say, oh, you can't have it because you don't live in Middletown. But I think what we need to do is start with Middletown first.
Yeah, somehow we have to include
Well, you're
Middletown.
born in Middletown.
We should include Middletown in this somewhere so they realize that we're really asking
You should.
specifically for that, you know.
What are, just to be clear on the record, what are you capturing?
Artists.
Names and addresses?
Well, so we're talking
And
about,
inclinations, are they?
What is your art, what is your interest?
Right,
What is,
Right.
and what do you do with, so are you collecting information, are you collecting addresses, email and names?
yeah,
yes.
And then what are you doing with that information?
ideally go into a database, so say we knew that there was an event where there was music. You could just like,
Kimmy
Highlight.
Packard wrote a
you know,
song.
do a search for.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do a search for anyone that says they're into music, you can send them an email, so it's like more targeted, like advertisement. Or, it's interesting, a friend of mine is on the Commission on the Arts in West Hartford, and she said one of the things they did up there was they did make a database of artists. So like say a restaurant contacted their commission and said, we're looking for someone to play music on Friday nights. And they're able, because they have that database, to give them names. Whereas right now, you know, it could be like off the top of your head, but we don't have like a database of, or say someone says, contacts MCA
So-
and says, I'm looking for someone who teaches drawing to 6-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
You
So
know?
I have a hard copy database that I collect, but the MCA doesn't have an electronic database that you can access. So I'm trying to figure out what the
Well, so
function.
what do you have?
So what I have is just, as I get inquiries through email or
Yeah.
I connect with people out in the world, I literally have an old school binder. I print the email. If I can identify what they do, who they are, where they are, their address, website, I put it in a binder, A through Z, and it's just a hard copy.
Right.
So that binder needs to get transferred into some digital platform so that who can access.
I think that's the question is, how do we wanna be able to search?
So
Who
I
are
understand
we-
exactly
Well,
the end platform because
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen it in larger cities. It's a database that,
Yeah.
So who
has
does that?
artists, but my
Yeah.
question is, who's looking for those artists and what are you looking for those artists for and what do we do with this information when we have it?
Right.
Because gathering it is one thing, but what you're doing with it is
Right.
another.
So who has access to it? That's a big question.
In general, you're
In
asking?
general, yeah.
Right, and who has access to this?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
there are platforms where you can go to City Hartford and say, you know what, I'm looking for artists for whatever reason, and there is a listserv in some
Right, yeah,
places.
yeah.
Now, the Connecticut Office of the Arts, for example, has teaching artists that
Right.
register into. So that's that's the next, that's the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
level
yeah,
of it
yeah,
where they're
yeah.
paid. So you can collect that type of database if people are actually looking for artists to do work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In Middletown. Now that's an idea right there, which is if that's a functional database.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But also, like, say someone says, I wanna volunteer, then you could collect that information and then say, Oddfellows contacts you and they say, we're looking for volunteers for building sets for the circus. And you look in the database and you say, oh, here's somebody who says they wanna volunteer making arts with kids.
Yep.
Then you connect them. So I think that's the idea is like, if someone says I'm interested, or I do this, and then someone else says I'm looking for this, I think the purpose of the database would be to quickly.
But then who
Connect.
accesses it? is the
Well,
question.
that's what I was gonna say, because usually those requests are gonna come through.
They come through me.
the
So if you're
art
doing
culture
all this work,
office.
Yeah.
for me, this is wonderful, thank you.
No, the thing is,
But I
the
don't
thing
wanna.
is, one of us can, one of us can always can do the typing of the database or whatever. But I think because you have to remember, Keisha serves she's staffed to us. She doesn't really work for us, but she's there to be in between. But she's also got the city side job, who a lot of those requests come through for
Naturally, just
the-
naturally.
for
Every day.
the fireworks and
All day
all these
long.
other
All day long.
activities.
All day
So
long.
it'd be sense that the database would be maintained in the arts and culture. But any of us that has time can set up the database.
Barbara has-
Barbara, I know you have your hand up.
Yeah, I hear you sort of talking for database type people who were performing enough. I think if you're gonna have a questionnaire, you're reaching out to people doing the arts. And if you start in making it a database, you're making it another thing to think and worrying about. We wanna get to people using the arts in the town. And therefore, we shouldn't be afraid to just let some very amateur or somebody who doesn't, oh yeah, I sing, then,
Well, that's
No,
fine.
But if we don't have that information,
it's
we
two
can't
different
use
things.
it.
Now,
I think
if you're
if you
looking
would
for this,
Okay.
if you can add on to the end, you professional, blah, 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 that's okay, but don't make the whole questionnaire and make it sound like you're reaching out to people who want to be used, say,
I
because
just,
then you're defeating, getting people participating in it.
Right.
Right,
I
so
understand
what
what
you
you're
can
saying.
do, you can use it as a marketing tool for us to target our events. Like, so you do this and you get responses. You got, wow, there's a whole lot of people that are at the photography here. Well, why don't we do a photography contest for the town? You know, you can use it to target, you know, what is our audience,
yeah.
you know, what's their interest?
Right.
so I
So
just,
right now, it's kind of like, what are we like, but maybe we find out what they're into by doing this. Not necessarily like a database of professional artists, but like what is like you're saying, what is the amateur people, what do they do? So we can target our events to that.
Well, and I'm not someone who works in business. I've never really used a database, but it seems to me like having it on, from what I understand, is if you have like all this different information in different columns, then you can just click on the column and see who's written that they are professional, whatever, you know, like, it just seems like a way to
Yeah.
quickly be able to find, either for targeted advertising or to connect people through volunteering. I mean, I don't know if it makes more sense. Does anyone have any experience?
Okay,
with
why don't we, this is a good start.
It's good stuff.
Let's think about this a little more because it is starting getting late and we still have a lot left on this
Yeah.
agenda.
I just wanted
So-
to reiterate and just be clear, moving forward as we think about this, I think, Kate, there are two databases
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah, I'm
talking
not
about.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
One is a public database that people can access
Yeah.
and use on the city's website.
Yep.
The other is an internal one
Right.
that is 3 times the size of
The other
people
one.
that, right.
Yeah.
However, there is now a third,
Uh-huh.
which is the initiative trying to get people to enter into the website, input their email address into the listserv so that they join the 300 plus bulk email that I send out weekly.
Right. Yeah.
That's a whole, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to make sure on when you're
Yeah.
thinking about this, what you're collecting the data for and
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're doing with it.
All
Well,
right,
and
why don't we,
That's it. That's all I was
why don't we
wondering.
spend a little more time and we can address this because this is something we can have ready for the fall. So let's think about it because we do have a lot and it's already
Okay, 8 o'clock.
getting late. But
Yeah.
these are all good ideas, Barbara. This is a great start. Kate, I agree we need to do something like that as well. So let's think a little bit more about it and then kind of come
Come
back
back to it.
with some ideas and then we can go forward. If that's the end, are we into committee reports? Okay. All right, 50th anniversary, budget and expenditures. I know we have one, Keisha, to address.
I just wanted to put on the record, your balance is 21,079.
For
The MCA checking account.
Okay.
Was
So-
there a line item issued to us in the budget for the 50th anniversary? Or is this it?
I
No,
think
this is,
it.
we have a separate account.
This is a separate account we've been accumulating over the years.
How much was that?
How much is what?
The separate account?
21,000.
21,000.
So that's it?
Yes.
Did you hear that, her question though?
I-
Her question was, did we have
There
any
was
money
nothing-
set aside for
There was
300
nothing put in the budget.
For 50?
There was no line put in the budget for the MCA 50th, no.
Okay.
What was put in the budget was an assistant for the office.
Oh.
As far as any additions that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Okay.
When does that assistant start?
July, there is no person in the position, but July 1st is when the fiscal year starts.
All right. Is that all we have for budget?
Yes, and then there is, Lee, you have a check that you want to disperse?
Yes, I would like to make a motion, first I'll tell you about it, and then make a motion. When our last meeting, we voted to, hang on. We voted to pay, I'm trying to, oh my God, Astra. I'm trying to remember, it's saying the drag queen. Astra, we voted to pay her.
Right,
Them.
we did.
Mhm.
To
I said, mm-hmm.
to do the show. And at that time, we weren't sure how it was gonna work. We were talking about trying to get a convertible or a Jeep. And it ended up, I built this thing on the back of my truck. Once that happened, there was no way I was gonna put a drag queen in platform heels in the back of my truck without somebody standing there to make sure everything was all right. We dressed him kind of like a guard for security so nobody would jump up on the truck or try anything crazy. And he was just there to monitor and watch. And it was a good thing too, because from the decoration of my truck, I could see nothing in the back of my truck. I wouldn't know if anything had happened or what was going on. So we did vote to pay Astra, and that check has been issued. I don't think it's fair that she get paid and the other person does not. So I would like to talk about maybe not the same pay because we have a whole different type of entertainment going, but Andrew did come at 8 o'clock in the morning, help me build it, lifted it on, lifted it off, rode the whole day, took a day off of work. He doesn't expect to be paid, but I would like to give him something. I think it's only fair.
How much did we pay Astra?
$250?
250.
$100?
$100?
Yeah, I mean,
Token?
token, I mean, it's really kind of a token, but appreciation for the effort you put in there.
I'm thinking more like 150 because I did work with him. He was there all day long. But
But we all, everybody kind of volunteers, but that's all
yeah,
right,
that's true.
you know.
Well,
We all
it-
volunteer.
it's true, but not only did I volunteer, I bought all the material, I did it, and I'm still not looking for pay.
Right,
You know,
right.
but I think people that aren't connected or owe anything, and
Okay, so I guess, first of all, we paid Astra $250.
Mhm.
What would you think would be reasonable, and then we need to have a motion to vote on that? 100, 150, two numbers.
Or why don't we pay this person 125? If that's the
What's the difference?
consensus, 100 or 150,
I don't know.
125 for a day's work?
That sounds kind of contrived. I'd rather say either 100 or 150.
Okay. How many hours did the person work?
from 8
8
to
a.m.
probably 8.
Yeah.
So for 12 hours.
Yeah.
You know,
And Astra,
That's not even-
did work, Astra did not work, right, I mean,
It
but
just sounds
Astra
like
did work, I mean, Astra stayed and Dave,
150 or something, like something silly.
I was thinking Astra just sat there, didn't do any of the work that you did, both you and
Andrew.
Though
Well,
there's
she
a
did
professional
a lot
quality
of
to
work on the
Astra.
makeup.
and
Yeah,
Right,
and I
right.
agree with you
Hours.
totally, I thought Astra was truly remarkable.
Yeah.
So, in the way, she handled everything, I thought she was.
So does
great at
someone
everything.
does someone wanna make a motion to pay Andrew 150?
yes, I'll make a motion.
I'll
Okay,
second that.
Andrew, 150.
Not
Okay.
second it?
My rules.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of paying Andrew $150? Aye. All right, motion is passed. All right. So Keisha, you have the check, I'll sign it. Okay. Anything else under budget and expenditures? Okay. MCA celebration date. Okay, last month we talked about one event, two events, the last, the public celebration at the August Summer Sounds, and then we talked about one in October. All right, I asked for a show of hands. It's been suggested we do more formal. So here's the thing. I personally don't care one way or the other whether we do one or two, but we really do need to pin it down because time is of the essence. Should we just do the one event at the Summer Sounds in August and call it a day?
I have a question.
Yes.
So there's been no money put aside for the 50th anniversary.
Because we have plenty of money in the checking account.
Okay, so it's not that there is no money, it's just that we have.
And if we need more money, we've been assured the council will approve.
Okay, cool, because
Yeah.
I'm like,
No,
we've
we've
paid
been,
for these events.
we've been told if we go and ask for money, the council will approve it. So we don't have to worry. Money,
Okay.
Something
I
like.
won't say we're gonna go crazy,
Okay.
but money really isn't the issue
Are we
right now.
saying we're gonna be using money out of that checking account for whatever celebration we use for the 50th anniversary?
Yes.
And not,
Does that?
No, the band is paid off the line.
Yeah.
There are certain things that are paid
no,
off.
I just, for
That
the
are
August
paid off
event,
the
yeah, yeah.
special events line, because we're trying to put this all into one. If there are rentals, that is part of the it's,
The Summer Sounds.
it's kind of all inclusive, so anything, I'm trying to think of what you would pay for, a cake, food, amenities. Everything else is taken care of, that's what I was trying to make the point last week.
I prefer one event, because I would say, great that we're doing a 50th anniversary thing, but then let's get back to the work of promoting the arts, which is what we're here for, instead of promoting ourselves.
So,
I agree.
Okay. All right.
can I just,
Yeah.
so Keisha and I spoke about it, and I really was not liking the idea until we talked about not calling it a Summer Sounds, calling it the party. Because Summer Sounds has its own group of people that go there. I don't think it would have had the same impact. So even though we're doing it with the Summer Sounds budget and everything else, we bill it as our party. That way it works out. Then we're using the same thing for the money. And one of the main things we're doing, which we saw with the Pride event, we couldn't get more than 7 people to march with us. We called everybody to do that, and it just wasn't, people have agendas and whatever. So you have to get a group today, you have to funnel from so many different directions to just get a little piece of this, a little piece of this, a little piece of this, to have a large group of people. So I like the idea.
Okay, well, what we call it, we can worry about that later. Right now, just, are we in agreement that we are going to do the last Summer Sounds concert in August and call that our 50th anniversary celebration?
But we're just not the concert, we just drop the concert, don't call it our last concert, call it the celebration.
Yes,
We'll
yes,
work
right,
the semantics out
Something-
later.
Something else,
Yeah.
yes.
Right now,
What the date is of that?
August 25th.
August 25th.
Pam, do you want a motion for that?
Yes, please.
I would like to make a motion that we do what Pam says.
See, you learned it. So, all right,
Oh, phew, I'll be back from
so,
vacation.
so we have a motion that we'll do it on August 25th. Whatever we call it, it will be August 25th.
Cool.
Do I have a
What day
second?
is that again? It's a Friday?
Thursday.
No, it's a
It's
Thursday.
a Thursday.
Concert's on a
Oh,
Thursday.
it's a Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Thursday. Summer Sounds is always on a Thursday.
Can you change,
All right,
just for a question, can you change that date or no? Not the date, but like do it on Friday or a Saturday, or
Isn't already booked?
it's already booked?
it's already, yeah.
that could still be
Yeah.
discussed as well.
It's fine.
Who's the band?
Not determined.
What's that?
Determined?
Can we have discussion before we vote it?
Wait a minute, what's that, Keisha?
She asked who the band was, and I
Oh.
said, there's two that I have on, sitting there that I'm just waiting for you all to make the
Okay.
decision.
For the entertainment, okay. Yes, Barbara?
I was under the impression that the reason we were having two times was one where we would invite certain people and it would be more formal and so forth. And the other one would be just for all the people, children and so forth to come. I would hate to see it go in either direction by having one. Now, if we could pull off something that had both, then I think it would be fine.
I think what we could do is have a VIP reception at the concert.
A VIP reception
reception
at the concert.
for,
VIP,
so
for
for
invited guests.
invited guests, like past commissioners.
Yeah, but when we just end up invited guests and so on, then we won't have that other thing that I was talking about.
We're gonna do both, we're doing both. Right now, it seems like we've had a motion
Is a motion?
to do August 25th. It was
Everything.
it second,
Both things.
Kate seconded it. All right, we've had our discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Okay,
I'm sure we
Alright.
can make it accommodate
motion
both.
passed.
Yeah,
Well, I
We can-
just hope it includes both.
Oh, definitely.
yeah.
It will include, and so those are the things, those are the details that we will work out, so that everybody's happy. I do think you're right, Barbara, that we need to celebrate the past commissioners, the current commissioners, but I think Kate's idea with a VIP reception before the actual public event would be nice, say from,
Or something, you know.
what does it start at? What time does it start, Keisha? Usually
I know.
6?
Yeah, but why wouldn't you want the
Spending money on art.
entire
Yeah.
captured audience to take part in that?
No, they wouldn't take part in the VIP reception. That part would just be from say 5 to 6
Right,
would
or
be the
something like
VIP reception, and then the festivities for the public start 6:30,
Well, yes,
whatever.
but it could also be included when we really think it over and talk it over, that, say, you arrive there and you arrive. Maybe we want people to feel they can arrive anytime at that.
Well, they will. It'll be up to them. We're gonna just say the VIP reception for whoever wants to show up will show up, and if they want to show up later, they can show up later due to work or whatever issue.
Yeah.
But right now, that's their personal thing. Right now, we can work out those details.
At the beginning of the
All right.
concert, there could be some kind of like announcement,
Right,
stand up
right,
and,
right.
you know, be recognized.
So,
I think if you want to honor sort of the 50 years and the people, past commissioners and whatnot, it would be much better to do it in an open way and not to have some exclusive event that is using money that could be better spent on arts for the public. And I think that's where the commission started, was this open, everyone is an artist, and everyone is to be brought into this. And the commissioners represent everybody in town, and they represent all the art forms. And to have a VIP reception just sort of curdles my blood.
well, we have, that
Automatically.
would just be before, and then the public, then the open public.
I was at a benefit concert in Willimantic, not this past weekend, but 2 weekends ago. And it was an all-day affair. They had a bunch of groups, and all the money went to different charities. So what they did was during one of the breaks between the groups, they announced all the charities and they had a little celebration. So if we're doing a bands take a break in the middle of their sets, we could recognize past commissioners, you know, recipients and things like that. Maybe it wouldn't be a half hour, maybe it was 15 minutes or so, but, we could certainly combine the two. There's certain ways to do it that would do both,
No, I
that
think
we have time to figure that out.
The VIP reception wouldn't necessarily be to do things, but it would just be people, it would be like a networking, gathering, social thing, it wouldn't be, and then the public announcements, those kinds of things would happen later on, the awards and all that. All right, so anyway, we're down to one event, August 25th. All right, we're all set on that?
Hopefully it doesn't
Okay.
rain.
All right, new business. Yeah, you know me, I try to keep it to an hour. I knew this was gonna be a lot on this agenda, but we can try to be out of here in another 20 minutes or so. Slate of officers, new business.
Okay, so, I guess as the representative of the nominating committee here, we put forth a slate of officers that Lee would become chair, Pam would become vice chair, and Dominique would continue to be the secretary. One of the reasons we wanted to keep things the same is with all this stuff around the 50th, doing a major shake-up of who is in leadership / executive committees be very disruptive right now, and Lee and Pam have graciously agreed to continue. So I guess we vote on
Who's the chair now?
Lee.
Lee, okay.
Lee would put, and then Pam vice chair, Dominique secretary.
We do the vote in July.
Do the vote in July. Okay.
You just
Okay.
present.
So presented. Is that all I do?
Yes, you did it.
It's fine.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
The
It's
meeting
amazing
date
how all that footwork just ends up to that little one sentence.
Yeah, I wanna, so,
Thank
yeah,
you
I
for
mean,
your
my,
work.
my understanding is that as you can only serve for 1 year or 2 years as
2
chair?
years.
2 years, 2
Years,
consecutive
and
terms
this is
in
your
one
second
position.
year,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, meeting date change. So, I was talking with Ed McCune, about, and reaching out to him about nominating different people, and he apologized for not coming to a lot of the meetings. And he said the reason was that they're frequently, as is there right now, competing other meetings, like the Common Council or other committees that prohibit him from being able to. Is there any way that we could change the day of the week or make it not always a Wednesday, or,
So this has been brought up before with
Yeah.
these people.
yeah,
We've had common council members who have the same job for 50 years that have made it.
right.
It's just these individuals that cannot.
We changed it.
If they can give you a day, but every day they're busy.
Right.
So you're really kind of changing things for something that's not. If he came to you and said, I'm free every Thursday, I think we can do it, but
Well, I
it's,
think there are specifically meetings that happen on
Well,
Wednesdays.
let me give you a little history. Here's what happened. When they got elected, they signed up. He signed up for the arts
For
position.
Wednesday.
Then other things came along.
Yeah.
But the real reason, we had voted on this before, the real reason we don't change our day is because we would lose our meeting room.
I see.
And this is, because like Lee said, this is not the first time it came up, but because there's so many commissions, if we give up this day and time, we may not have a meeting room because there's a whole lot of other commissions meeting on those different days.
So we have to then, when we go back, because we also lost Ed Ford.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we have no common council
So
members.
he resigned?
He resigned.
Yes, he put it on Facebook. He is starting his master's degree, plus he's expecting a new baby in the fall, so he is taking a break from public life.
how
resigned as
long
a
are their
council
terms?
member.
Huh?
How long are their
Common
terms?
council.
Common
He's
council,
resigned
4
from Common
years.
Council too.
Huh?
Did he resign from Common Council?
He
Yeah.
resigned from
No,
Oh, I
everything.
didn't realize that.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
so
Yes, yes.
not just a
So
sort of.
this is a great
And I'm
example.
not
Had we
surprised,
changed
yeah.
it last time for him, he resigned anyway. So, I mean, to change a whole system for.
For one individual,
Right,
which
so
is
we have
you're
to
disrupting,
We have to find two people that, cause we're.
well, we don't have to find anything, that's up to the comment, that's up to Gino, Sarah,
Alright,
and the common council.
okay,
I have spoken to the mayor about this issue before, and nothing's been done, but we don't choose the council members.
Okay.
That's the common council has to assign, or they step up, so we've brought this issue up before.
okay.
Yeah, we don't do anything with that.
I'd like to set the record straight. It has been changed. It is not that it never has been changed. I had to give up a whole organization when it was changed
We
on my
changed it,
name.
you're
We
right.
changed it from.
It wasn't, you remember that,
Yeah,
Joyce?
yeah.
Richard Kamens could not make
Richard
it, and this
Kamens,
is why we
right.
changed it.
It was
And
Thursdays?
It was
Thursdays,
Thursdays
yeah.
and went
I
to
think so.
Wednesdays.
Thursday.
Yeah.
I
I
went to
prefer the
Wednesday.
So-
Thursdays though.
That precedent has been set.
Yeah.
The
Right.
meeting room is a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's the issue, because there's all these new commissions that have come up. You've got the Racial Justice Task Force and all these other commissions that have come up over time, and they're taking up meeting space. So if we change this, we may be stuck with not having a room to meet. That's the
Build a new
biggest
city
issue.
hall.
Hmm?
Build a new city hall.
Well,
Bigger city hall.
that's supposed to be coming down the line in another year or so now.
I would think.
It's almost 3 years in.
We also used to utilize the senior center as well, just as a reminder, as additional space.
And before that, Stillman School. And then it turned that into private apartments.
So, but from what I understand, the seniors have a lot going on, so their space isn't always available.
So I guess to wrap that up,
More seniors.
Yeah.
Pam, as the chair,
Unless
if
you're
you
gonna
could
play bingo, you're gonna
speak
get
to
that
the
one.
common council and say, please, when you choose, note that this is the date that we have, and if you can't make it, don't sign up to be on.
Yeah, Ed and I have had this conversation many times. You're not the first person.
All right.
He and I have had this but it's hard to be disruptive now to
Yeah.
everybody for one individual. And the thing is, when they get elected, they sign up for the commissions they want to serve on.
Right.
But then he went on every commercial and then ended up on the finance, and then we meet at the same day and time.
Okay,
So when he started out, he wasn't on those commissions.
right. And it's
Okay.
something I also talked about with the mayor, and he said,
They need a,
there's never a shortage of council members who wanna be on the commission, on our commission.
Right,
It's
right.
harder to get people to be on the sewer.
Water and sewer, yeah, I wouldn't think that.
okay, they need a spreadsheet with the,
Yeah.
with really, in order to figure out if it fits for them, you know,
Yeah.
the time and the, yeah.
Well, it did, because he was coming until he decided to get involved in
More
all these
That's what I'm
other.
saying, but you can't do
these
it all,
other
right.
commissions. Exactly, exactly.
And then we took a back seat.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
right.
did.
And now he wants us to change our meeting.
That's,
Right.
that's
Okay,
really, yeah, that's the.
I'm
wasn't
unconvinced.
No, it's okay, Kate, that was it, but that's the history.
Okay.
You're fine, that was it, but we're just giving you, the history that it's not you.
Okay.
It's just that he figured he'd have another door in. And
You
I
were
like
the
Ed,
new
don't
door.
get me wrong, I
Hey,
like Ed, but.
you were the new door. You're just testing the waters
Yeah.
over there to see
Okay.
if
You might have said that knowing that we would say no and then it'd be excuse not.
He's
Okay.
trying to exhaust all
So,
this.
so let's, it's getting late.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Outreach to
fine.
encourage public interest in the town.
Okay. Okay, outreach,
How did you do it?
all right.
Would you like to be on the commission?
He said,
I've been dying to ask
I'm
you that.
running for-
Are you interested?
I'm running for the hills now.
He's actually one of the nominees.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay,
It is,
good.
if you didn't know
So
that.
outreach to encourage public interest, who's line, who's that?
What was your question again?
Outreach to encourage public interest.
I believe that was
Who put this on the
Julie.
agenda?
Julia.
Julie, did
I
that?
believe that
Oh,
was
Julian, she's not here,
Well,
okay.
let's table it then.
Yeah, we'll table
I
it
think we
until.
already kind of, came up with the whole, are you interested in volunteering, et
Oh,
cetera,
okay,
like,
okay.
this is-
I have input, please, Madam Chair.
Yeah, huh?
The input that I can provide as shared with me is through Ed McCune, who I did have a conversation with very briefly The suggestion is to do a social media post and do a large outreach to the community to pull members into our commission, either visiting or as commissioners, but to actually do a forward-facing post.
Sorry,
The problem is, and I think that's a great idea, but it always becomes like, what party are you affiliated with? So it's, you know what I'm saying, then we get a difficult dance that,
But I think it's more of participation and engagement and getting more people to join our meetings, for example.
Oh, for just as the public.
Just as,
For
as to give
example, the
them- okay,
LGBTQ Commission
Gotcha.
posts their agenda, and I've seen Facebook posts that says, please join our meeting tonight. Anyone from the public, doors are open. That's the type of kind of engagement that is trying to be
Members of the
rendered.
commission, and that's a little trickier, because you've got to
Yeah.
have so many from the
Right,
party and
But
so on.
it's
They
Yeah.
should have the
separate,
details.
yeah.
I wanna be on the commission, and then they find out,
I
oh, what's
know.
your party?
well, no,
All
we're
that.
just talking about like coming and
Coming in.
Right.
attending a meeting.
Have a seat right here, just
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
here.
The
Right.
problem is though, they wanna come and be part, and with our bylaws, they're not on the agenda, they cannot speak, they just have to sit
Sit
and
and
watch
listen.
and.
Sit and listen,
Yes,
That's
that's right.
fine.
Okay.
Okay, all
Right,
right,
that's perfect.
okay.
Thank
It
you.
takes a certain kind of
All
person.
right. Announcements. I am a proud mom, because my daughter had another poem published. And, let me call up Jennifer's. She had another poem published. It is published in another Chicago, In Search of Butterflies, and it's published in another Chicago magazine. And it's in celebration of the newly released Wherever I'm At, an anthology of Chicago poetry where this poem is also published. So, the poem is really, really cute, but,
Send it to us.
Send it to us,
I
right.
will.
See if you can
And
find-
just a little bit of her bio. Jennifer Steele from Middletown, Connecticut, has lived in Chicago since 2006. She's a Howard University alum with an MFA in poetry from Columbia College, Chicago. She's the author of A House in Its Hunger, Central Square Press, alum of Callaloo 2015, the Poetry Incubator 2016, and Ragdale 2021. She's executive director of 826 Shy, a writing publishing center amplifying the voices of Chicago's youth, and was featured in New City's 2020 Lit 50. She's the inaugural recipient of the 2019 Lucille Clifton Creative Parent Writing Award, and her work is forthcoming and has appeared in Hypertext Review, Pittsburgh Poetry Review, Callaloo, Columbia Poetry Review, Where We Stand, Poems of Black Resistance, and others. She is working on a full-length collection of poetry entitled Belt, and developing a collection of creative nonfiction.
Nice.
Thanks.
Very cool.
Be proud of her.
So, proud mom.
You should be.
You deserve it.
Yeah.
Make Music Day was really fun. I performed in front of Middlesex Music with Noah, Keisha came by,
I have video footage.
and there was lots of other performers. It was really awesome. What a
I
great
went to
event.
one at the mansion, but I'm sorry I didn't get to that one. But I got to hear a group called Mama Train Jazz. Do you know who they are? They were great. It was a female vocalist, and somehow just fit the mansion itself, being the type of mansion it is, and the music they were doing, jazz and some really blues. It was just, and the main singer was just great, and then there was Brian Titus who was good too. But
Oh
I
yeah.
was really impressed with
Those
the
right down the
Mama
street.
Train Jazz. I think they're out of Hartford, but they lived in Vernon, and they were. Guys wore white shirts with bow ties, but it just fit the ambiance of the mansion, and it was just, they did a great job. So I first time I've ever been able to attend, I think something for the music day.
Any other,
No,
announcements?
well, I was too late to hear Kate and Noah perform, but there was a lovely, does that help? There was a lovely young child about 11 years
He
old,
was great.
playing the guitar with complete composure, singing away with this lovely, lovely voice. You know, what's the one about the sun's out and
Here
it'll be all
comes the
right.
sun.
Here comes the sun,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, and other things like
Great.
that, and he'd put in a little riff every once in a while. And the people gathered around who were very happy, and then this wonderful thing happened. This dude comes down Main Street with his earplugs in, and he's singing a song about whatever's broadcasting in his ears. So he's doing his own It's Music Day. He walks right in front of the kid. All of a sudden he realizes he's in the middle of that kid's performance. And he gets very apologetic and walks off.
So where was
It was just a collision of these two musical events, and I don't know if his was really programmed or not.
I don't think so. I think he was just singing.
I think he was just doing
And
Main
where
Street.
was he performing the, not the guy
He was in
walking
front of
Right in front of the
Middlesex
Middlesex Music. He's actually a student.
Music,
of the
okay. He's a
Middlesex
student,
Music
he's a
Academy.
student.
Yeah.
That's great, that's
Yeah.
great.
Karen
So-
Hope's
All
daughter.
right.
It was
Any other,
charming.
any other announcements?
Anyway, it was a
Barbara?
successful day.
I'd like to share that last week I was at the 25th anniversary of Connecticut Virtuosi Chamber Orchestra, and I was recognized by Adrian, the director,
Nice.
for bringing the opera to Middletown.
Mhm.
It's 11 years now, 2 operas, you know, the Greater Middletown Concert, of which I really pushed for the opera when I was introduced to it over in New Britain. And it's 22 operas that we brought now to Middletown. So I was quite honored, and I wanted to share that with you.
Great.
Congratulations, Barbara. All right.
One
If
day I'll
there's-
sit down and pick your brain, and you have a
If there's,
encyclopedia in there.
if there's, nothing else, can I
I'll make
have
a motion.
Second.
I didn't get out of my mouth. Okay, all in favor? Motion adjourned.
All
and
not in favor can stay.
Meeting adjourned at 8:27.
Do you want to come up with a date?
Did you want, oh, one more thing, Keisha, did you